The 2024 NFL Draft is coming up for the Baltimore Ravens, and we have a lot of positions that we need to fill in this draft class to help retool for our 2024 Super Bowl run. Because my goodness, we need a Super Bowl bad. The Baltimore Ravens lost a lot of players, albeit mostly depth players, but still a lot of players. Patrick Queen is gone, Jadeveon Clowney is gone, Odell Beckham Jr. is gone, a couple of running backs is gone. A lot of players that we've come to love are now out the window. So what can the Ravens do to replace some of those players and try to get better so we can make a rerun from last year and go even further? There are three positions I'm looking at for the NFL for this year's NFL draft class. The Ravens need offensive linemen, wide receivers, and defensive backs. And while I have a preference of an order, like I prefer we go offensive line in the first round, that's our biggest priority, I think that it doesn't really matter as long as we go with one of those three positions. Starting off with offensive line, we only have two bona fide starters, two for sure starters, and honestly, only one really reliable all-pro level offensive lineman in Tyler Linderbaum, our center. Now, hopefully Ronnie Stanley can get back to what he once was, but for the time being, that is his spot, and it's probably going to be replaced at some point in the near future. But right now, we don't have a right, a left guard, and a right tackle. They're all gone. More like up in the air. We could go in multiple directions. Even if we drafted an offensive lineman, Voorhees and Fa'alele could be fighting for one of those positions on the offensive line. But we still have a great need. I mean, it's not like we have any reliable or proven offensive lineman on the roster right now. Getting a high-level rookie like Tyler Guyton, Amarius Mims, or if we get him J.C. Latham from Alabama, getting one of those highly rated offensive tackles to replace that right tackle spot can be very smart for us. None of these guys are proven, and this is definitely the biggest need. It doesn't matter if you have a great running back. It doesn't matter if you have a great quarterback, a great wide receiver core, great tight ends. If you don't have a good offensive line, you're not going to have great success as an offense. Speaking of, great success as an offense, in a very pass-happy league, the Ravens have never really had a good wide receiver core. Well, in a while. The last time we had a good wide receiver core was, when we won a Super Bowl with Torrey Smith and Anquan Bolden and Jacoby Jones? I don't think that's a coincidence. I think Zay Flowers is a great first piece to a Super Bowl-ready wide receiver core, but everyone else, no, not really. Odell Beckham Jr. was the only other player to pass 500 yards on this team, and he's gone. Nelson Aguilar, Rashad Bateman, those guys only had over 300 yards. Zay Flowers was by far and away the best wide receiver we had with 800 yards, if a best receiver we had with 800 yards and a few touchdowns. We need to find another wide receiver that can replicate to that production, maybe even be better than Zay Flowers. But it doesn't matter. We need two high-level wide receivers to complement Lamar Jackson. This is the last year for Rashad Bateman to actually prove that he can be one of our running back or one of our wide receivers. My apologies. Nelson Aguilar was a nice depth piece. I liked him a lot. And honestly, when Lamar Jackson threw to him, he kind of stepped up. But that's all he is. He's a good depth piece for us. And Deontay Hardy is going to be a good, I think I said that right, is going to be a nice rotational piece also, but mostly return man. Now, at number 30, it's weird. There's Xavier Worthy is going to be there, but I don't know how much I can trust him. I feel like a guy like Adonai Mitchell, Brian Thomas Jr. if he falls to us, or Troy Franklin. I like those receivers over like a guy like Worthy, especially since with Adonai Mitchell he kind of adds more deep threat for us, and I feel like we need that. But if we, obviously go offensive line or defensive back in the first round, then we can look at guys like Xavier Legette. The point is that there are a lot of great wide receivers in this draft class, and I feel like in a good stacked draft class like this, I just think it makes more sense to go offensive line or maybe even defensive back with the first pick over wide receiver. Although I definitely would argue that wide receiver is more of a need than defensive back. And plus, I really love Adonai Mitchell. Going to their third position of need, defensive back. The thing about this is that when you look at our starters only, right, which is Marlon Humphrey, Braden Stevens, Marcus Williams, and Kyle Hamilton, that's a really good starting cornerbacks and safeties, right? Maybe Arthur Millette. But at the end of the day, they're all good. But usually every single year, the Ravens defensive backs, somebody gets hurt. One of the guys get hurt, especially one of the starters. Marlon Humphrey was dealing with the injury kind of like all year. Well, actually 2 different injuries, but he was dealing with injuries all year nonetheless. At one point, Marcus Williams got hurt. Like I feel like he always does with us. Even Kyle Hamilton got hurt for one or 2 weeks, and Geno Stone stepped up. But here's the thing. We need depth. This position group needs depth. I feel like if first off, Brandon Stevens might leave after this year. He hasn't had an extension yet. He only has 1 year left on his contract. Marlon Humphrey's been kind of getting injured, and while I think when he is healthy, he can definitely be one of the best corners in the league, it's another hope for us that he's healthy. And then Arthur Millette I love Arthur Millette, but he's not on the same level as Marlon Humphrey or Brandon Stevens. He's just a good cornerback. We need to find another cornerback that can be high level that could potentially replace Brandon Stevens or Marlon Humphrey if something were to happen, especially since injuries always gets us. That's another thing with safety. Safety is a little bit interesting because, we do have our practice squad guy and Adarius Washington who kind of comes up sometimes. He gets a roster spot sometimes. It's very weird with him. But Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton easily it's just better star power compared to the cornerback group. But the depth is like last year we had Geno Stone, so there was no worries. But this year we don't have that. So we're either putting all of our trust in Adarius Washington or we're drafting a guy to help back them up, which I think it might happen in day 2, day 3. Tyler Nubin with that 30th pick would be very interesting, although I just don't think that's going to happen. I mean, if you look at the rest of the cornerbacks right now, these guys are not proven. Damarian Williams is not proven. It's just, I can't trust this group if somebody goes down, which every single year the Ravens deal with injuries. So I can almost guarantee that we're going to need other guys on the in this defensive back group to step up. So, it's just a big problem that needs to be addressed. But yeah, no, that's the Ravens. That's what the Ravens need. The Ravens need offensive line. The Ravens need wide receiver help. And my goodness, the Ravens need cornerbacks. But yeah, let me know what you guys think the Ravens should do in this NFL draft class. I will probably be posting a short little video of my first round reaction, maybe like a YouTube short or something like that. And I can't wait until tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.